Hi, so I want to start today's video by saying I really don't have all the answers on this topic, and I actually wanted to share this video as kind of a way of sorting and shifting through my own mind, along with, feedback and just sharing this topic with the community. I see there's this real split between twin flame community and videos, and then like the manifesting you can create everything you want videos, and they just don't seem to overlap. And I find myself in both communities. I've done what I consider the twin flame journey, and I've had intense crazy out of this world connections to people that have woken me up, put me on the journey. I've not been able to drop them until I've like evolved and shifted and cleared, and a lot of the stuff in the twin flame community makes sense. However, the you are the creator of your reality, everyone is you pushed out also makes sense. I've tried, I've tested it, I've completely changed people, I've changed everything in my experience. It works. We are the gods of our reality. We can create anything we want in our reality. But for some reason, these two like kind of schools of thought, they don't ever really cross over. I never really see people. I've even asked questions on the videos in the manifest specific person for kind of area. How do you explain chemistry? Why, if we can really manifest anybody, why can we not just walk out onto the street, pick the most closest to alignment person, like the hottest person that we see, and just be like, okay, I'm going to make them my SP, and done and dusted. There's obviously a lot more to this journey, but I really truly the reason I spend a lot of time in the manifesting everyone is you pushed out zone is because I really truly believe it's a really important step to twin flame reunion, is understanding that everything that's showing up in your experience is your creation, and testing that out with various things is like amazing, because it really empowers you and makes you see and understand how everything around you is a reflection of your inner self, and we're all part of one source, and we're all experiencing ourselves in these multiple bodies. But then where does chemistry kick in? I have theories, and there's still things that I want like deeper awareness on. And my journey really has, sometimes I ask people in this everyone is you pushed out thing about twin flames, and they're like, oh, I've never really had that, I've not experienced it, like I don't believe in it or whatever, and they kind of just shun it. But there's a lot of people that sort of bring in and manifest specific people, and I don't, I'm pretty good at seeing connections in people, and I just don't really feel like that connection that I see in who I believe to be authentic twin flames that have gotten into union. So there's this like divide, but at the same time, like they both, and that's why my videos like kind of have a bit of both sides, because I very heavily believe I'm working on the twin flame journey and come into inner union, and I also very much believe that we are the creators of our experience, and everything that shows up in our reality and the way people show up in our reality is completely a product of our inner energy. So I'm kind of putting this video out here as like a topic and a talking point, because whenever I've tried to bring it up on everyone is you pushed out videos, people just don't really respond to it. So I thought I would create my own video and create my own like topic. And we don't all have all the answers to everything, and that's okay. I think maybe sometimes people don't want to talk about it because they genuinely don't know. So they think, well, people are not going to respect me or want my guidance if I don't have the answers to things. But I think none of us, we're all finding out little chunks of the truth, and we're continually finding out deeper and deeper truths within ourselves. And I think it's okay not to know, and it's okay to change. Like, I've changed my opinion on so many things over the course of the journey. So where I'm at with it, I have no ability in my reality so far to change who I have felt a very deep connection to. The only thing that has allowed me not to feel a very deep connection to people, so I mean, for those that don't know, like I thought I met my twin flame in like 2010, 11. And then that kind of energy moved into like a few more bodies, slightly, like every experience was slightly different. But there was like three very heavy energies, one of which is now worked out for me now. I'm not going to go into more details about that now because I don't like to talk about things when they're really early. And then I've had two like very, very light high energies. And then I've had like soul connections here and there in between. I've had a lot of connections since I woke up. But there's been like those three real core, like deep triggering. And then there's been like one stroke two, like really, one really, like really bubble love. And yeah, they've all been very unique, but you know, there's been no denying where I'm meant to be at each time and who has my focus. And the only time I've ever gotten that focus away is by self-work and by acknowledging the parts that I'm looking for from them that I needed to find in myself. So there was one connection that was very, very heavily based for me around not feeling attractive enough. And the irony was, I mean, you know, if we're just going simply on paper, you know, everybody would be like, why are you interested in him? But something in his energy field made me feel like I needed to get his validation, that he wanted to date me, that I was pretty, that I was like attractive. But because of his own issues, like he would even say, you know, I've never had such a strong connection, I love you, blah, blah, blah. But because of his own like intimacy issues, he couldn't like go into a deep connection like that with somebody because like he would rather keep them as a friend. But I obviously made that like about me, not them, and I was like, I'm not attractive enough. Like I even started comparing myself. I mean, this was really one of the darkest times in my life. I even started comparing myself to like flipping like an escort in a bar or something. I was like, why is he looking at her? You know, like literally I was just so triggered and I was so confronted. But it was all my issues of not being like worthy enough, not being pretty enough. And then I think all of that was masking not even being seen on a deeper level, because it actually really annoys me when then people want to be with me just because they say I'm pretty, because actually that's not what I want, because then they can obviously just, you know, you're never going to always be the prettiest. You know, there's always, you've got to be seen on a deeper level. So, I mean, I took it even further to that, like that it was about being seen fully as a soul on a deeper level. And that I wasn't seeing myself because I was so focused on my outward appearance. I wanted someone to see me on a deeper level, but I was so focused on my external appearance and whether they would like fancy me. So, you know, that was a whole journey for me. But as soon as I actually realized, I mean, obviously I realized it long before, but as soon as I like truly empowered myself that I didn't need that guy, I don't know why I put so much on like guy, but this is what I believe we have like contracts, or, you know, we're just particularly triggered to different people's energies because they give off something, you know, and they match us on some kind of frequency. Once I started to like, there was this one day I remember I just hit this like absolute low point and I just snapped to, and I was like, what are you doing? You know, like every time a woman walks in the room, you're staring at her and worrying that he's going to look at her. And then obviously he does look at her because, you know, people generally just behave in the way that you expect them to behave, and they also behave in the way that you behave and treat yourself. So if you're worrying about everybody walking in, then of course they're going to do that because you're creating it. So I mean, there is that element of creation all the time. Like everything that he did, I can see in hindsight that I was doing to myself. But I couldn't let go of that connection until I found it within myself. And a lot of these twin flame connections that we think are twin flames, you know, like that's why I think it's important to be really, really honest and really take your time, because I've had people where I've had every single marker on the twin flame thing. You know, my first and second, like literally hit, like, especially my first, hit every single tick box that you read on these, you know, whatever blog pages and stuff, like all the syncs, the synchronicities, the strong, you know. The way I see it is the guy that woke me up, it was like before then I was like walking around and I didn't really know what was going on. Like I was just living my life. And it's like he temporarily gave me a feeling of what it was like to be whole or connected to source, and then took it away. Just give me 1 second. Sorry, I just had to go and get something in the kitchen. He took it away, and it was like someone wrenched my soul out of my chest. And I literally cried continuously for about 3 months, like continuously, like everywhere, like on the bus. And I was not a person that cried in public ever. It was like a freaking floodgate unleashed, and I had the darkest night of the soul. And it was after that that I started becoming very spiritual. I started going to spiritual practices, and then I went through the whole like spiritual ego part of the journey. But it was like, that was my wake-up call. It was like, you are going to experience being whole just for a little bit, so that then when we take this away, you then have to go and find that energy within yourself and stop trying to seek it in another person. And ever since then, I've just had really strong connections. And there's never been this moment where I'm like, oh, I could just drop this person and go and be with somebody else. And I think this is what a lot of the everyone is you pushed out stuff misses out. And they probably miss it out because they really don't have the answers. And I don't have all the answers, but I know there's more to it. I know you can change people. The person that I had a smaller connection to before, well, not before, because the one I'm in now is a return, but in between that person, I did change them, and I could see how I could have changed them. But I just, as soon as I'd like fix that stuff within, I was like, I don't care. They could be the perfect molded person for me, but there's not that like inner charge, you know? It's not there. So yeah, we can create anybody to be anything. And yeah, we are always creating our reality, and we are with our ultimate connections. I truly believe that, like, you know, they are a mirror for us. And so, I mean, if you work through the process of everyone is you pushed out, you know, you will be evolving and growing, because to have your specific person, if you want them, then there's something stopping you, and clearing that block is really important. So I don't think there's anything wrong with manifesting a specific person that you have a charge to, because when you get it, you'll know you've cleared and shifted a lot of blocks within you. But then whether you'll stay connected to them and go deeper and deeper, is I still think there's a level of honesty that is needed of, is this my ultimate feeling? And the feeling comes from like here, like you can make them into everything you want them to be. You can, like, there's so many, I believe that there's multi-realities and parallel universes, and we can, you know, we can meet those people in all kinds of different states of being. But when it comes to the connection you feel with that person, that's where I do believe that frequencies attract in order for us to grow and to evolve, rather than us being able to like pluck out any person and just be like, okay, I'm gonna change them and make them into my ideal person, and you know, we're gonna be happy ever after. So I don't have like all the answers to this. I just know that I find myself resonating to both fields, and I rarely ever see them. I do see the twin flame community now talking a lot more about owning your creation and understanding yourself as a creator, and like, you know, all the states of manifesting are those twin flame states, like to love unconditionally. It's weird actually, because I feel like I'm only just coming into that energy, but I understand what that means now. loving unconditionally isn't being a doormat. I think that was a big problem I had when I first found the twin flame journey, because there was a lot of people telling me to live unconditionally and giving me all this guidance and feedback, and I just felt like a doormat, like 24/7 when I was applying it, and it just didn't feel right. And I was like, this isn't right. I just feel like I'm being an idiot. And I now see that it's not that they were wrong, because it is about being unconditional, but it's about unconditionally living yourself. And that's very much not being a doormat, and not like having things in your life that are not making you happy or are not ultimate. I mean, to get into the situation I have now, I didn't accept anything that wasn't exactly what I wanted. I was like, no, that's not enough. That's not enough. That's not enough. That's not enough. Like, okay, that's enough, like, I had to be very specific about what I wanted to have as a connection, and if it wasn't, that wasn't enough. So I think it's very important that it's not, unconditional love is often seen as like just throwing love at another person and just being like, yeah, take my love, I'll forgive you from anything. But that's actually not unconditional love. Like, unconditional love is loving yourself to such a level that it like overflows, and then you don't really have like a charge to other people, because you don't need to, because you love yourself and you're not like seeking stuff from other people. So for example, you're in a room, and I'll use my earlier example, and a hot girl walks in or a hot guy walks in. If you completely love yourself, you're like, oh, they're nice looking, but I know that I'm the most amazing person for this person, because I love myself and I know my worth, and I know that I, on a deep, like, I know myself on a soul level. I know what I'm worth, and you can just like see it and acknowledge it, and even be like nice to that person. And like, there's not that charge, like, and that's the unconditional love, that you can go around and be loving with people because you're not triggered and angry and upset by them all the time, and then just trying to pretend that all is love. And I feel like there's a lot of this goes on in the community, like, all is love, like, when really inside they're like seething or upset, or they don't have everything they want in their life, and it's like coming from a half place, or this over kind of supporting things because they want to feel a part of something, or they want to feel like they're saving something. But it's like, no, do you know what, if you just save yourself, then everything else will automatically be easier to save, because you'll be inspiring people and you'll just be giving unconditional love. So yeah, that's like the state of unconditional love. It's not just pouring love on people that are not valuing you. It's a natural byproduct of loving yourself so much that nothing's triggering and charging you, that you can just be loving to everybody. And it's like a natural thing, not a like kind of forced state. And yeah, so I wanted to like just throw this out there. I'm just interested what everybody else thinks. Like, I see it spoken about very little in the like manifesting community about like ultimate connections and chemistry. It's kind of like it's just pushed to the side because no one really wants to deal with it. That's how I see it anyway. So yeah, I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts, and yeah, bye.